Welcome to Airsoft Charleston, one of South Carolina's premier airsoft facilities. We're glad that you've joined us today. In order to make sure that you have a safe and fun time, there's some rules that we're going to ask you to follow. First of all, when you arrive at our airsoft field, we ask that all weapons be transported with a barrel cover on the barrel and with your magazine removed. The first thing you're going to do when you come to the field is report to registration and our chrono area. For the chrono procedure, we ask that you bring eye protection. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. That you bring a magazine not inserted in the weapon, and again, you have your barrel cover on the weapon. We also ask that there is no test firing in our parking lot. The only test firing will be done on the chrono range or on the field. At Airsoft Charleston, we ask that you would follow these 4 safety rules when handling a weapon. The first one is never point your weapon at anything you do not intend to shoot. The second rule is treat every weapon as if it was loaded, meaning treat it like you've got a BB in the barrel and this thing is ready to go. The third rule is to keep your finger straight and off the trigger until you are ready to fire. The fourth rule is to keep your weapon on safe until you are ready to fire. It's very important that you treat this weapon as if it was a real weapon, because it can do serious injury to other players that are on our field if you do not respect this weapon and treat it properly. Let's talk about a couple weapons safety rules for gameplay. One of the rules that we have is that you are not allowed to blind fire your weapon. What does blind firing mean? Well, blind firing is where you don't have positive control of your weapon and you can't actually see the target that you're shooting at. All players must have positive control of their weapon, have it in their shoulder, and be looking down the sights when they're engaging a target. Players are not to blind fire, where they point the weapon up over obstacles, shoot all around, shoot from the hip, or do any of these things. That is unsafe, and players may be removed from the field for failing to follow that instruction. When entering any of the playing fields at Airsoft Charleston, all players will be required to wear full seal ANSI rated goggles. Z87.1 is a standard that we recommend for all players. The goggles must also have a retention strap. Eye protection must never be removed for any reason while on the playing field. A player removing eye protection will be immediately removed from the playing field. All players are recommended to wear a lower wire mesh face protection. Players under the age of 18 are required to wear this. Players 18 and over are highly encouraged to wear this. Missing a tooth is not a good look after you leave the airsoft field. Let's talk about some game rules and the etiquette of airsoft. Airsoft is a game of honor. Many of us have served in the military, and honor is very important to us. Those same principles should be carried onto the playing field. The first rule I'd like to talk about is calling your hit. So what's a hit? A hit is any time a BB hits you or a piece of your gear, except for your primary weapon. If I'm engaging a player and a BB happens to hit my weapon, that is not a hit. Players will ask me, what if a BB hits me in my pinky finger? That is a hit. What if a BB hits the side of my gear? That is also a hit. A hit on any part of your gear or your body, except for your primary weapon, is counted as a hit. So what do you do when you get hit? Players, upon getting hit, should throw a hand in the air, call hit, and then follow the instructions for the game, whether that's reporting to a spawn area or to the side of the field because game is over. Players can raise a weapon over their head, can have a hand up, and you should not shoot players when they have called themselves out. If in doubt that you are hit, call yourself out. It's the safest thing. Also, please do not argue with other players or with staff members. If you feel like a player is not following the rules, please let a staff member know, and that staff member will address the situation. It is never okay to address those situations by yourself on the field. One of our other rules to keep players safe at Airsoft Charleston is to follow our minimum engagement distance rules. When you chronoed your weapon at the start of play, you received a tag on your weapon. Based on that tag, you have a certain minimum distance that you can engage players with. Please follow that rule for the player's safety. Players that violate their minimum engagement distance may be asked to leave the field. When gameplay is concluded and players are ready to return to the parking lot, All players must follow the following procedure. You must drop the magazine and fire 1 or 2 rounds to make sure that the hop-up chamber is cleared out of your weapon. Players will then put their barrel cover on their weapon and return to the staging area. Again, remember, no magazines in the staging areas. At Airsoft Charleston, we require players to use biodegradable BBs. Players may bring their own BBs to the field, or we have a wide variety of weights and brands of BBs available for sale. Players are required to attend all safety briefings for the day. Now let's talk about some rules when playing on our airsoft field. One of the major rules that we have is please no shooting any wildlife on our property. Players that are found shooting wildlife on our property will be asked to leave. Please respect our property. What does respect look like for Airsoft Charleston? We ask that players do not damage any of our barricades or structures, do not climb on structures, do not move any of the structures. When you play at Airsoft Charleston, you are committing to following the rules of the field and the instructions of our staff. Please, no arguing with the staff, no swearing, and no physical contact with other players. All players are asked to follow the rules and to police the area in the parking lot. Please do not leave trash around the field and pick up after yourself. General play rules at Airsoft Charleston require players to only fire weapons in the semi-automatic mode. That means 1 shot for each pull of the trigger. Unless designated by special game rules, certain game modes will allow certain players to be designated as automatic gunners. Automatic gunners that have one of these bad boys are allowed to shoot in full auto, subject to certain minimum engagement distance rules. All other players not designated as gunners will have to use the semi-automatic feature. Everyone wants to be a sniper, and at Airsoft Charleston you have that opportunity. Snipers with a sniper rifle will have a certain minimum engagement distance. Please check in with our staff to make sure that your weapon is chronoed and marked and that the certain game rules allow the use of a sniper rifle. Players that are new to Airsoft are welcome to talk to any of our staff members for training on weapons handling, Airsoft tactics, or anything else related to Airsoft that you have questions about. This is a family-friendly environment, and we want to make sure that you have all the tools you need to succeed out on the field. For those of you that are new to Airsoft and don't have your own equipment, Airsoft Charleston offers a full line of rental equipment, including an M4 rifle, 2 magazines with full BBs, and ANSI-rated full mask and eye protection. Please see one of our staff members if you are interested in renting this package. We are excited that you chose to come out to Airsoft Charleston today. By following these safety rules, you can ensure that you and other players will have a safe and fun time. Remember, treat everybody with kindness, respect, and play with honor, and we'll see you on the field.